But their story didn't end there.
How could there have been only one?
And he's back in business.
Is the worst idea in the history of bad ideas.
Part 2 is the final chapter in the violent history.
This time, it's personal.
Cuma beberapa bulan. Kamu nggak boleh tahu aku ada di mana. Dan aku nggak boleh deket kamu.
Nah, kalau kita mau membersihkan kota ini dengan bersih, kita harus tangkap mereka. Nama-nama yang penting.
If you like mud fights, knife fights, gangs versus cops, stabbings, prison, stripping down naked in a conference room, subway train knife fights with well-dressed gentlemen and ladies with sunglasses with hammers, fights in clubs, not seeing your son, daddy problems, more sunglasses, murder with baseball equipment, ramen to the face, wine glasses to the neck, cheeks on a stovetop, car fights, ladies with hammers, I said that already, shotguns, and crime family drama, you're going to like the movie we're talking about this week. The sequel is The Raid 2 from 2014. Welcome to Revenge of the Sequel, the podcast just about sequels. And boy, do we have a doozy this week. My name's Emmanuel.
Hey, I'm Andrew.
What's up? It's John.
Wow. I feel like after watching this movie, we should, like, I don't know, fight.
It's
Like, improvise fight.
We're going to watch the Minions.
Watch the Minions.
There's a lot of gruesome fights in this.
I think this one more so than the first one, definitely, because I don't think we got
first
really
one gets pretty wild.
Well, also don't remember getting as squeamish as, I guess we're just jumping right into
Yeah.
it, as some of the kills in this movie. Well, like some of the kills in this movie were like super violent. Like,
and I noticed this
really
because I
violent.
did watch The Raid yesterday, and I watched The Raid 2 today. The first raid is a tight 80-something minutes.
Yeah, it's
This one's 2.5 hours.
2.5. Yeah.
2 hours and 40. Yeah.
2 hours and 40, and then the first one takes place only in one place, and this one is
Everywhere.
everything, everywhere, all at once. But yeah, super excited to talk about this movie. I feel like we're already done. All right, bye. I'm just kidding. No,
There it goes.
I guess The Raid itself is a well-known movie. I don't think it's like a super watched movie though, because of the fact that it's a foreign film and that it isn't necessarily always being promoted. It doesn't like have a cycle where people are finding The Raid again.
No, I think it's still considered, I think, like a cult classic. I remember hearing about the movie. This was the movie came out a long time ago. The first Raid came out like in 2011. I remember hearing about the movie through something. I think I saw a clip through some sort of, promotional, like, something that was promoting the
It
Raid.
was definitely
I
a
guess.
trailer, and I know exactly what shot that you were like, I'm in. It's the one where the guy's falling and he starts to throw his head into the wall like 50 times on his way down. And you're like, oh my God.
I think it started doing rounds. Like maybe it was like some festival play or something. And then I guess a trailer came out and people were like, you have to watch this trailer. It's like one of those things where like it's a must see. I think the trailer caught me by attention. And then, a couple of years, I don't know if a couple of years went by or maybe a few years, and it showed up on cable TV, like, on the movie channel or something, like maybe Stars or I don't know, some sort of like cable movie channel. And, we watched it and I was like blown away by it. It was just like one of the craziest. I'm certain Andrew was probably the same story because we probably saw it at the same time. It's like, it's one of those things where like you show it to people and you're like, have you seen this movie? And the word of mouth, because it had already been out. And I guess like, the DVD was probably already around or it was making rounds on TV or something. But I think it was starting to catch, steam, I guess. And it was I remember it started blowing up, and then yes, like after everyone kind of had seen it, I had seen some rumbling. I still followed. This wasn't that long ago, I guess. If we're talking about this movie, it kind of was a while ago, but I still followed like movie news and stuff. So you still kind of saw, so I kind of knew that the Raid 2 was coming because of the popularity of the first one.
The story is interesting, and it maybe elevates it to that cult status. It's directed by Gareth Evans, who
You almost said Edwards.
I know, it's close, right? But Gareth Evans, whose wife was of Indonesian and Japanese descent, and told him, like, hey, go make a documentary about martial arts. So he got a Panasonic AF100, which is an HD camcorder. And while he was in Indonesia shooting a documentary, he was like, you know what we should do?
Just make an actual martial
Let's
arts
make
movie.
a huge martial arts movie, airsoft guns, unpaid extras, kind of a gritty, and I think we talked about how different it is already, but it is kind of just an impressive feat of filmmaking considering, I guess, the resources that it had. And that's partially probably why it had such a big like cult following, or at least is super well known. And so by the time we're talking Raid 2, I mean, I don't even know what the budget of the first Raid movie is. Oh, the budget is $1.1 million. So it looks like a lot of it went to like finishing it. And it played at Sundance. So I'm sure there's a lot of cost when it came to like music rights and stuff like that. But it was a pretty inexpensive movie that by the time that the Raid 2 came out or was being worked on, I'm sure it was just kind of all about, you know, elevating everything. Well, while we're sticking with Raids, like, what were the things that stood out to you about Raid Redemption, which is, I guess, the U.S. title? Raid 1.
The martial arts.
Yeah.
It's just like, man, like it's one of those like genres that could be done, I think, to death or oversaturate or not, you know, not done as well. And
Yeah.
And so I think I remember watching it and being like, man, this guy needs to do every martial arts thing ever. I was like, give him the Matrix and give him, you know, give him something like Shang-Chi or something, you know?
Yeah.
I think it's kind of amazing, especially because a lot of these actors are stunt performers themselves. So it's crazy to see the frame not cut away and, you know, these long takes, continuous shots of these, and the editing's good too. It's not like it cheapens out anything that they do, but yeah, it's just a visual spectacle. I think we were watching this second one, and I had to put on the last fight scene for my roommate. One of my roommates came in when we had finished watching it. I was like, you need to watch this thing. Like you can't not watch it. And then today at work, he was like, yeah, I'm gonna watch that movie because that sequence is just bonkers. But so there's a lot of things like that happen in the first Raid. They have the, you know. Everyone got used to doing these hallway sequences, these one-shot take hallway sequences where it's like it's uninterrupted and I mean,
it's almost like it started there, like in my
100%.
opinion. Yeah,
and so it's just really cool because
the first time you saw it like done very well, like would be
probably
like in
because you know obviously Daredevil does it, and then they try to redo it again in like the later seasons, and the editing gets a little bit choppy, and you can kind of tell where it happens, where like it goes through like a dark room, and that's
but this is like no effects.
Right,
you know, leave the camera up and let the actors go wild.
And you, to be honest, you get a lot of that in the second one too. We were watching some behind the scenes stuff yesterday, and you were like, "How did they get that shot?" Oh yeah, like it makes sense on how they
the way they got it the first.
Exactly,
movie,
where it's like some dude on rollerblades and you know, or whatever. But yeah, and
I thinking it like, you know, they I think there's a prison scene in this one, the second one, or a fight at the beginning where like it's happening in a bathroom stall.
Yeah.
But what the cameraman is doing and what the PAs are doing are moving the walls to like, you know, do
so that
some
way
perception.
You have the space. Yeah, exactly.
That's cool. So
and
it seems bigger.
Mm-hmm.
And so very classic movie techniques that you can't like. You would have thought they were big budget, you know. So that's what I think.
Also, the sheer amount of extras. You just kind of it looks expensive because of the sheer amount of like the fights that are happening on the screen even from the first one. Like they just kind of like it's a lot of chaos happening at once.
Yeah,
and you're impressed by the fact that the camera can follow it all because the camera sometimes does handheld moves or, you know, with them. And like, it's like, you know, everything's dancing, you know, because obviously choreography is a dance. But the camera and you know, the camera and the people making the movie are also a part of the choreography because they have to like know where to land and where to spin.
And I think the fact that it's so cinematic because it's not totally perfect. The first movie, like there are moments in the first movie where it's pitch black because they just didn't light it. You know, but it works so well because it's how you get him, you know, lighting his face when he shoots a gun or something like that, and you're like, whoa, that's a crazy cinematic thing. And then the first movie is so intense from the very beginning. I think that's maybe why people were it was so jarring for people because like, whoa, this feels different because it does not. It starts at like level 100 and then it just goes to level
Right, yeah.
2000 throughout the movie. I saw it described as like a survival horror almost, or a survival action movie because of how brutal it is. I don't even know what the body count is, but I bet it's super high.
That's what I was telling John. I was like, man, it's reminiscent of like the old 80s movies where like the protagonist was
Yeah.
like 200, 300 people like body count.
It's
and
wild.
so it's really cool to see it in a modern setting and done so well because, again, it has been overplayed and stuff. You know, you watch these old movies like, you know, Commando and Rambo
Yeah.
and, you know, it just gets a little bit campy at some point. And
Everybody's so quick too. Like you can see the athleticism of all the people like fighting. Like it's just so everyone's like connecting hits. And it probably is like, you know, a lot of it probably is movie magic and how they do stuff. But no doubt they're not. I mean, there could be some sped up takes too. I mean, there has to be, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that most of these people are just hitting marks and like, you know, like like 3 or 4 punches per, like, you know, like in a second. And then like, you know, just the way the presentation is like, cause you know, like, it's like what Drew said, like, you know, we've seen a lot of these, martial arts movies in the past and it's a very popular, like, you know,
Yeah.
you know, is it a genre? I guess it's just a genre movie. But to see like for this one to come out of nowhere like that and to be like an underdog story where like, you know, you're following these people who are definitely out of there, like, you know, the odds are so much against them.
I was going to say there's also like a social, I would think like maybe even like a somewhat economic story behind a lot of this,
Right,
and
yeah.
maybe the helplessness of corruption that is happening at the highest levels of government, and who is a criminal, and you're empathizing with
Literally
someone who's a
fighting-
criminal. Yeah.
literally fighting an uphill battle,
Yeah.
like in this case. 'cause
And it
they're
is, you
going
know,
upwards.
melodramatic because it's brothers, you know, or
Yeah.
it's someone you're like in the one we're talking about, family.
Toretto.
But yeah, I think because of that, it also has an added layer of complexity where it's not just fight scene to fight scene to fight scene. You actually care about who they're fighting. I mean, even with the first one, there was like some badass characters that you would see kill people constantly, and you're like, in your head, you're like, oh shit, he's gonna meet our main guy, and he's gonna be fucked when that happens. So it's a great, you know, heightening that's happening, and they're not all just careless with no motivation fight sequences. There's a lot going on.
Man, those machete scenes, like where you're just like, holy crap, like so tension building.
I
where
hated
they stab it
that.
through
That
the
was
wall.
the worst for me. Yeah.
Or even when the hallway fight where they're all fighting with one and he doesn't have
Yeah.
any, so he's like, you know, playing hot potato with everything. He can't touch anything because everything's a machete.
That's what's
Ugh.
cool about like these two movies. Really, the second one takes things. I guess maybe we should get into that one here in a sec.
Yeah.
No,
No.
to like more heights.
Yeah.
This one's good.
But no. I mean, that's. I guess
wanna
we're just
use
talking
this-
about what brought
the
us to
raid
the
in general.
franchise
Yeah,
because
yeah.
because this is one of those things where like
What is the raid?
the movie
and-
kind of hits you out of nowhere. Like you had no idea about this, and then you're just like, huh,
It's intense.
This is crazy.
I mean,
and
it's-
then like, wow.
It's got to be one of the most intense frenetic movies that have ever been
Probably ever been made.
I was watching this during the workday, and I texted you. I was like, "Damn, I got to lower the volume because it's guns all day
And screams
and
and just, like-
screams and blood and guts everywhere." And I think that's also what's really. I think if you're a fan of, you know, like practical effects and stuff, not even just with the stunts, but just the gory aspects of it, it's pretty intense, and it's cool if you're interested. Like a lot of
Well,
people
and
can't handle that,
it's so-
so
well,
you
and-
shouldn't watch the raid or the raid 2
It's
because
funny
there's a lot of it.
me and John were watching this one and we're like,
The second
man,
one, yeah.
I don't know how I don't think
Yeah.
Emmanuel's getting through this well because there's a lot
I'm
of
not as into the guts as much.
and also they use a lot of edges to things as weapons
yeah.
so much where it's like, oh, you broke the glass and so he grabs your foot and puts you into
And I'm
the edge of like the broken glass and then you know
raid
drags
1,
you.
raid 2. I'm like, y'all use your guns. Stop using these knives because everybody is using creative weapons. But I'm like, please just
It's
shoot
like
each
boom,
other. please.
curve stomp.
But even
or like
then-
boom, edge of the table.
Even
and
then,
you're like,
when they're
Jesus.
shooting each other, it's like, oh, I'm gonna shoot your face off, and I'm like, okay, cool.
Or like, you know, oh my god, they can't
Golly.
just cut someone's neck; they have to carve them up or
Yeah.
something, and just like, what the hell?
It's
Like,
interesting too in this film, Raid 2, where there is something going on with restraint because he also cuts away several times. Right when
Sort
there
of,
is a,
but-
and I'm
I
like, oh,
think
that's
it's because
super
it's-
intentional. I'm
It's
sure.
also pushing the rating. I think at some point where you're like,
Get it
oh
up
my
there. yeah.
god,
You got a number of
That's
Well,
just-
'cause isn't it an
yeah.
amount of blood that you can't show?
I
don't
guess
know.
so. I don't know how it works nowadays. I just think that like this one, I was telling Drew, I think at one point too, I was like, we're going into like torture porn status almost in this case because
Yeah.
like, you know, some of the killings are like super over the top. Like, you know, you're not just like
Yeah.
stabbing someone in the leg. You
And
stab
so-
someone and then you go downwards like you're like a freaking like
and it's
Yeah,
very
baby.
it's very callous too. Like there's a moment in this where they just line people up and they just
slice their
Yeah, but they don't show you like 4 of them.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
one was like
show a
very
lot.
one they show a lot,
And
I'm
even
just like,
from the
whoa.
very beginning of Raid 2, when they show the field where they bury people,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
assume that there was going to be a lot. Okay, well, let's talk about Raid 2. I guess, John, what did you think about Raid 2?
extreme. Everything's taken extreme. No, like everything
Hardcore.
is taken to the 11th like power here, because like that's just yeah. I mean, I didn't know. I knew what I think I had seen the scene. You know, when I was back in the day when I was hyped for the Raid 2. Not that I wasn't. I just never got around to actually watching it. Like that, I wasn't hyped for it yesterday. But back when the hype was real about the movie, I remember seeing that bathroom scene, the one that opens this movie, where they're fighting in the bathroom stall and stuff.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good fight.
And then
scene.
and then seeing it here, like
And let me just say this: later on, we're going to talk about our favorite sequences, so don't blow your load
don't
too
blow
fast.
it, don't yeah.
I'm done.
I'm done.
What did John say earlier? Ejac?
Ejac, yeah.
I ejacked.
Ejac is
It was
is
on
gonna
another
be-
episode, so they got it out
Oh,
of
shit.
context.
Okay, never
He's
mind.
going to be in another. That's a character now. We're
Go to
making up a
Patreon.
character. Yeah. Prematurely Ejac. Anyway, yeah. Well, holy crap with this movie! Like right off the bat, everything is so brutal. Like that fight scene is kind of reminiscent of the Raid 1, where it's just a bunch of fist fighting stuff and like blocking and weird camera spins, and you know you're kind of you're worried. Or you're kind of like you're wondering at me at that point. I was wondering how the fuck they were doing that since the stall was so small. But and then you
Now you know.
Yeah, you watch the BTS and then people are actually moving.
Since you
walls.
brought that up, I was like, I wonder what that car scene was like now. Because I was like, there's no room in a car.
Oh, I don't know about that. That
Okay,
could
that
have been
might have been
pulling.
real.
Yeah,
Oh,
that could have
okay.
been real.
I was like, what walls
There's
can you
an
pull in a car?
overhead shot of the car where he's fighting
Yeah.
all 4 of the guys in the seat. That's obviously not in the car.
yeah,
true.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
obviously
yeah.
not.
You
the
cut
car.
the car in half.
But yeah, and then holy crap, for this thing to become like the first movie is so compared to this one really simple, like pretty straightforward premise.
Simple Jack.
Like it's kind of like there's obviously like the crime element there, and then it blossoms into conspiracy and like,
Corruption.
corruption, yeah.
The main good guy actually isn't.
Right, yeah, and that's the whole thing. But like that stuff only comes out from the like as the movie goes on. Like the premise is very, very simple. This one kind of, I don't know if it's that simple to begin with. You kind
No.
of thrown into like, oh, you're going to be an undercover cop because your brother was killed or something, and this relates to the last movie, and now you're introducing like 4 or 5 new characters.
And there's these families. You better
Families,
remember.
yeah.
everything. Yeah.
And so this was a lot. Like, I'm not saying that I didn't enjoy everything about this movie is very enjoyable from I think to the fact that it's so violent and over the top that it becomes campy in a way. Like there's some camp to it, in my opinion, like because it's so out there. But again, like when it comes to the creative, like, the fight sequences and the, man, those damn fight sequences, and then the way sometimes the score is used is kind of crazy. And then obviously the people with the performances are the ones doing all the hard work literally in this movie. So like they're great. I thought it was something. I'm still kind of digesting and kind of thinking about the movie actually, to be honest. Because there are some gnarly kills that I remember being like, whoa, I almost looked away at that point. Mainly the prison riot scene, which is like pretty brutal when it comes to treatment of human life, I guess. In that one.
Prison riot.
But like, what hell of a crazy movie pivot from the original movie that we were saying we were gonna do. I don't know if we should mention it just in case we don't end up doing it. But really weird pivot from that movie, even though that movie is also
about a super cop.
Yeah.
that's also a very violent movie. But to go into this one that's even more violent, like in a hyper violent way, was kind of a little jarring. But welcome though. I really did want to see the Raid 2, and I think Gareth Evans. I'm actually very interested in. I've never wanted to, or at least didn't have an interest to watch his other stuff, but now I do. And
Yeah.
I know that he'd done that movie Apostle with Dan Stevens for Netflix, which is a horror movie. I do want to
And-
watch that now.
Spoiler alert for the end. There is a Raid Netflix movie from Michael Bay and him coming out.
Because I think like he
That's a
he's on the
2022 announcement. So yeah, that's happening.
Yeah, that was announced like way back in. I mean, the actual the concept of a remake was announced like I think pretty early.
Yeah.
pretty early on, like closer to these movies release.
But now you got Michael Bay. You got Netflix.
Yeah, exactly.
Ambulance?
What can go wrong? That's a lot of
Explosions.
a lot of explosions.
We just watched Ambulance too.
Ambulance is a good movie.
I'm kind of on board, whatever this is. Drew, what did you think of The Raid 2?
I thought that it was like John bonkers, because it's just such a 180 from the first movie, where it's like, man, it's basically like a boss fight in like a video game in the first one, because you're like you go through levels and then you fight the crazy boss, and then you get to the big boss at the very end,
And at the very end of The Raid, Donkey Kong was on the roof.
Yeah,
remember?
he starts throwing barrels. Oh, and in this one, it just gets way too complicated. It tries to be like internal affairs. It's just like,
Or like
who's
Heat
the
or something.
corrupt cops and
The Departed.
which one?
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
There's a lot of it happens a lot.
And so you're like, man, who? And there's like 3 different points where it's like, man, he's kind of forced into this like task force to find corrupt cops, and them in itself are kind of corrupt because of their extreme kind of like actions
It's
against.
very confusing at some point.
Yeah, well, because they kill the main bad guy from the first one, and our main cop, Rama, is like, man, I'm a good cop. Like, I wanted him to get, go on trial.
Yeah.
And so he's just kind of thrown into this lifestyle, and, he spends 2 years in prison thinking he's only going to be there months or whatever, and now he's like in deep in this undercover sting, but they're trying to uncover the ring of hidden cops that that are dirty, that are embedded into the city, but also his brother's dead, who gets killed at the beginning of this one, so he's trying to find their killers, and so
He's got a lot on his plate when
and then there's this like war like that's about to happen with these like mob families, and so
It's exhausting.
It gets very crazy, and it's tough to keep track of everybody. Sometimes we introduce characters just to kill them off like 10-20 minutes later.
And then sometimes you forget that characters are around and they show up again. You're just
Yeah.
like, oh crap.
Yeah,
and some of them are just fighting. Like that's
Yeah, some of them just fight.
They just
and that's
fight.
crazy.
And so it's very it is kind of all over the place compared to the first one, where it's a little bit more concentrated. And
So you're saying The Raid needs a Kevin
Feige.
They need someone to
How
kind
are you gonna say
of
it's Kevin Smith?
a Michael Bay, if you
they need someone to start planning, because you're right. There's a lot of world building happening in this.
Yeah, and so in this one it happens a ton. So I think that's the thing that shell shocked me kind of like the most. I didn't expect it to be a whole hour longer
Yeah,
than the
legit.
first
Yeah,
one.
yeah, uh-huh.
Where it's like, holy shit, I thought you were kind of you were gonna go bigger for sure. I get it. Like
This
you
shit's almost
you
as
to go
long as
bigger.
the Batman. Like,
Yeah.
just like in terms
And-
of like the length.
And so the Irishman, and so it's just crazy that they decided to kind of put the pedal to the metal in that sense, where it's like, instead of giving you more fights, because the fights are good in this one, but the fights are also good in the first one too, where like there's none of them are better. They're just all kind of good in their own right. And so they kind of put the pedal to the metal in the story aspect, and I didn't expect it as much.
Yeah.
Yeah. They really did try to go heavy with the plot here. This
and
movie is very heavy on plot.
Me and John were trying to keep up, like trying to look up, like, who's that guy? Like, okay, is this the same guy? And we're like, yeah, okay. And like, what? Like, we tried to, again, really keep up to see it, to really pay attention. And I think we did a good job, because we kind of explained it a little bit to you earlier at the beginning.
Yeah.
But it is it don't feel like, if you're lost during this movie,
Yeah.
you're not alone. We were all lost.
It's and I'm reading this now, and this may explain everything, but the Gareth Evans had wanted to use this money to make another script he
movie,
wrote,
yeah.
which I think was just mostly
A crime drama.
Yeah, the crime drama, but he needed to make it raid enough.
Raid-ish, yeah.
So I feel like that's
it's
what you feel in the movie is a
He
very
retooled a different story.
a dramatic
it's
kind of
almost like
family crime drama.
The first Raid was a proof of concept, and he was like, this is what I could do. And then they funded him, and he's like, now I'm going to make the movie.
Yeah.
I think it might be what you read was like, I was reading that earlier, that saying that I don't think he wanted to make a Raid 2. I think it's just
Yeah, I
the
could
Raid
tell.
the
Yeah.
Raid
When-
1 was like
Shit.
was big, and so they're like, well, can you make another Raid? And he was just like, oh, well, I guess I'll just retool this script.
And now he's making a third one for Netflix.
And also he left this one hanging, where I was like, damn,
that
need to
ending
see,
is wild.
I need to see like him John Wick himself
I thought
out
I
of this
I
thing.
thought I was gonna hear a gunshot. Honestly, at the end, I was
Just
like, "Oh,
one.
is he just like I'm
I
done?"
like the ending. It's very open-ended, obviously. Like, you're not really supposed to know what's
and-
happening.
and
And
it
but
is-
also, he's capable of like
Yeah.
running through all of them, and you're like, holy shit.
Yeah.
and
guns.
it sort of is a good ending, because part of the lesson of this is there's nothing you will just be like a hamster on a wheel, never end,
Never ending,
no matter
yeah.
your stamina. And this guy shows in the movie that he is a superhero. He's a metahuman.
Yeah.
You know, like legit.
He
like,
beats two
can
of the
survive
supervillains, yeah.
everything.
Well, also he also gets like multiple stab wounds like and stuff,
throughout
and he's
the
still
movie.
going. Like,
and temporally, I think this is only takes place in like 2 days or something. So he's going through it. He can survive it, but I feel like maybe that's why the ending is that way, because there is no end, which is
Right, yeah.
maybe a little nihilist, but also maybe real. You know,
I think at that point
The
it
fight
fit
never
the,
stops.
I-
The fight never
yeah, basically.
stops.
I think at that point it fit the tone of the movie because the movie was going. I mean, it was going very grim there.
Yeah.
Like,
Gotta
you
see
know.
his family.
there's another 2.5 hours left. You know, at the end of this movie that you haven't seen.
Yeah, it's a good flick, but yes, very very weird.
Yeah.
In tone compared to the first one, and that's why I was like, it kind of feels like it wasn't a part of the same movie until you do the research and you're kind of like, oh yeah, I guess so. Like, you know, it's just. I mean, Evan said that, like, you know, with this movie, they had a built-in audience already because everyone who had watched the first one, like, everyone knew, shit, here we are. Like,
Yeah.
we liked the first one, so we eventually ended up watching this for this podcast.
Well, yeah.
So, like, yeah, I mean, that's what, like, Evans was like, yeah, this movie was he knew he was going to be a hit, so, like, you know, why wouldn't you want to do that, you know, like, early in a directing career?
Yeah.
Just trying to, like,
And
get another
there's
hit.
no one from the first one in this movie except for Rama.
Yeah.
No one. Like, yeah, you see the brother and you see like the bad guy from the first one, which is
For a
not the
little
same
bit,
actor
yeah.
because you could tell they get rid of him ASAP. They literally blow his
And
face
that
off
bad-
so that you don't see him.
we gotta find the characters, but that bad guy kind of has a really depressing story.
Oh, and this one here.
Yeah,
And
Like,
so-
he's lost everything.
Yeah, and so it's just it's all completely new characters, and there's like 50.
Yeah, and I want to go through some of these new characters. Uko, I think, is one of the main emotional characters, the son
Right,
of
yeah.
the and really the Judas to Jesus.
It's kind of a
Yeah.
weird one, too.
It's
He's
like the
introduced
buddy.
kind of as, like a sleazy, like...
He's like, I want to buy
And
you in
kind
prison.
of- yeah, I mean,
Bad?
we were talking about that scene with the two ladies, and he is really, I would say, like dangerous even outside of these.
Yeah.
You know, just
Oh,
in,
yeah,
just
yeah.
in a normal setting.
He,
He's insane.
he feels like no one appreciates him, his dad included.
Yeah, and he wants to do more. I
He's
guess.
like, I'm a crime boss.
Ika is
He
in
wants to
this.
get disrespected more by doing stuff wrong. longer.
Beho is really interesting too because he kind of
It's
is
the
an
new
archetype of
up-and-comer.
a villain, almost in a way.
But
Like,
also
he's
like
wears
a-
sunglasses all the time. He's got a limp, you know, and you're like, okay, there's something going on.
His status is interesting in the movie too. Apparently, he's like a low-level one that people don't take seriously.
Yeah,
but
but
he's
he
on
was-
the rise.
but
He
now
was the
he's
one who
consolidating,
killed,
yeah.
and he's the one who killed Rama's brother.
Right, yeah.
But there's a whole slew of people in the underworld of Jakarta that I feel like it are definitely super fleshed out in the screenplay, and maybe just because they have to be super efficient in the film, and quite honestly because everyone wants to see those action sequences. But they don't. But I feel like they do spend a lot of. There are scenes with Uko and his dad that were given a lot of time in the movie, you know, and I feel like they did give ample amounts to what's happening behind the scenes and stuff to kind of show how they're discovering each other as people, in between fights, of course.
Yeah, definitely. I think the scenes with Rama and Uko are probably pretty cool because you see
Yeah.
kind of like the.
It's tense. It's
The
tense
Rama-
too, in a
Rama-
different way.
It's really cool to see Rama because, like, something's obviously definitely. Uko has like a chip on his shoulder, which is like, he wants to really prove himself, but he seems to be kind of a little
A real
incompetent.
Don Jr.
Yeah. But he seems to be kind of a little incompetent when he's doing stuff. And then Rama is, has the weight of the world on his shoulders, like emotionally too, because
Yeah.
like he's doing all this different shit. He's like a triple
Yeah.
agent, at some point, just for just to do his duty.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right. Like so many characters, and then you only have like room for some of them. I think we haven't even mentioned the Bengal. Like there was Eka too, like a guy who eventually ends up being like
Who's-
another double cop.
And yeah, he was a double cop. Seemed to be like maybe even the right hand man almost.
Yeah, he was up there.
Super
but, like,
loyal. Maybe the son that the main guy didn't have.
yeah, he was also like an important character, I guess, because he tells Rama, he's like, "You're never fully out." And he's like,
Yeah.
when you're in here, you're in. Like he's like, so kind of hinting that Rama's going to be
And I
doing
think
this until he
he
dies.
also tells him like you have to kill them all. Like that's the only
Yeah,
way
yeah.
of getting
To
out.
getting out.
Very
yeah.
John Wick, baby.
I know you gotta kill them all, Pokemon. All right, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna play a fun game. It'll be pretty quick, and then we'll come back and talk about our favorite sequences. I'm so glad we didn't get too in detail. That way, we have time to pick our favorite fight sequence. This one is pretty interesting. Of course, the movie is called The Raid, which means we're gonna play the Raid game. Raid, as you know, Kill bugs dead, defend your home. It is the pesticide that everybody knows and loves. Real big fans of it here. And what we're going to do is across the slew of Raid products, and to my count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, there are 7 Raid products, household products. You can go to Home Depot and get it. This is not sponsored by Raid, everyone. S.C. Johnson, a family company. But you are going to go back and forth telling me a insect or bug that can be killed with Raid. I have a list now of about 40 bugs that can, household bugs and pests, that are guaranteed to be killed. Actually, it's kind of brutal, like the Raid movie, I guess, by all of Raid's product. Does that make sense? And Andrew, since you won, I guess John will go first. But you will just, and I feel
What
like...
did he win? Oh, the movie
Yeah,
trivia?
separate game, separate pod. But does that make sense? So you will just list an insect.
Yeah, and then we go back,
Then
yeah.
and then I guess you want to do a 2 strikes. Let's do a 2 strikes. There's a lot of insects that are possible.
Also, I mean, 40 isn't a lot, too. Guys,
It is. I feel like
yeah.
Raid needs to do. I think
Yeah,
you know. I
step
bet
it up, Raid.
I bet it kills a lot of insects, but they haven't tested it on like some obscure
honest,
dung
not-
beetle.
yeah,
I'm
it's not
trying
like-
to think of a whole bunch of stuff, and
They're not going to be like,
It's not
hey,
coming to me.
Yeah.
They're not going to grab a camel spider and try to test
Yeah,
a
find some random thing and whatever. Okay, here we go. This is the Raid game, and everyone, I'm interested too because I feel like pests are different even across the United States, and some people are like, "What is that?" You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah, that's true.
some
So-
people are like, "What?"
So anyone who's listening to us overseas is going to be like, who the
Yeah,
what the
I
fuck?
can't even imagine. You know, there's like cities that don't have any like,
Frogs?
I guess so, yeah, but don't have like rats or don't have like certain things.
Where
You're
do
just
you
like, "What?"
live? And let me go fucking live there.
I mean, there is a city, I got to look it up, that don't have any rats. And it's in Canada. I think it's Calgary, Canada, has 0
It's
rats.
because it's so cold or something? Or
Partially, but they also have super aggressive,
like snakes or
They
something?
have, they have super aggressive snakes over there. Like if you go to a club for snakes, they're always bumping into you
Yeah,
and,
yeah,
and
exactly.
moshing. Open the pit.
Snake
okay,
jazz.
here we go. So, John, what is the first bug that you think Raid can kill?
I'm going to do a Hail Mary. I hope I don't. I'm going to do a hard one right now,
a
actually.
hard one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Silverfish.
Oh shit! This list is so long. Oh, yep. Silverfish is on.
Silverfish.
So you have survived that. Drew, what's another thing that Raid kills?
Cockroaches.
Yes, roaches. Number 1 with a bullet. I would have to say maybe their number 1
Like marketed
marketed thing.
Like bug.
Yeah.
Their number 1 marketed dead bug.
Roaches.
Roaches, yeah. Ants.
Ants is on the list. It's a very good one. Maybe number 2 on the list for
That's
things.
the main reason I
Yeah.
buy Raid is for ants.
And this is why we have ants.
because we have no Raid.
Yeah. Drew?
Cricket.
Cricket is on the list, but I gotta find it on mine. Yeah, it kills crickets. And this is maybe weird for y'all, but I'm not scared of any of these household bugs. Like I'm not like I don't freak out, but I dislike crickets more than any of these pests. Like crickets, I think are.
They actually don't do anything, too. That's the funniest thing.
I know, but neither do cockroaches. Really, Like,
Cockroaches can bite you.
I guess
sort
so,
of,
but
like-
crickets can bite you. But what
guess
I don't
you're
like
right.
about crickets is they're like are always tweaking. Does that make sense? Like
Yeah.
they will jump
and then they jump at you.
1,000
yeah.
feet in the air and just grab on. And cockroaches are kind of slow. Some of them can fly. Ants are like whatever. But crickets, you don't know.
Cockroaches are motherfucking survivalists. You can like throw.
Yeah.
If you don't actually like smush them, like you can drown them in radiation and they're not gonna die.
Some would say that in the war between Raid and cockroaches
Cockroaches
are
are
winning
winning, yeah.
because guess what? They're still around. Raid.
Oh, so I gotta go with the bug.
Yep.
Shit, I'm gonna run out of
I know.
bugs. pretty
Yeah, I
quickly.
don't know
Let's see.
that
I'm
many.
trying to think,
I'm
like,
done
Um,
already.
Wasp.
You can kill a wasp. You definitely can. I gotta find it on my list. Yeah, wasps. Because remember, this is across the range of Raid products.
Yeah, so it's like there's that wasp one that shoots a very scary like poison
Stream.
out. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which like if you hit a human instead of a
It's-
wasp.
yeah, and
you're-
that's also like
you're getting-
really relying on people's hand-eye
yeah,
coordination. To
you're getting
like,
sued. Like it's like you're aiming a gun basically at
And
a
it's
fucking bug.
flammable as fuck.
It's flammable, and it's made to shoot like 20 feet.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be inside pointing at my neighbor's
Yeah,
eyeballs.
Try that during a barbecue and see who gets poisoned.
It's wild out here. Drew, what's another pest? that Raid-
mosquitoes.
Yeah, they can also kill mosquitoes. Very good. Very good. John?
Spiders.
It's not an insect.
Oh, it's not.
Yeah, no spiders.
No, I
Yeah,
was like,
that's
they
there.
live
There
in
it
the
is. There's
woods.
spider. I was like, that's a pretty basic one. I feel like it should kill, unless there's like a special spider, thing
They
where
got
they're immune.
Yeah,
That's
a scary spider.
Gotta write that down for my Spider-Man spoof movie.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Actually, you'd kill a ton of villains because
Just with the raid.
all of them are
All of
bug
them,
related. Yeah.
Except for the octopus.
Yeah. Drew, what's another household insect? Just look around the room.
Bees?
Yeah, bees. That's actually sad. I don't want
Yeah, I
them to
know.
kill bees.
That's
but
why I didn't want to say it, but
it can kill bees. We shouldn't be killing bees.
hey,
though.
to be honest, raid can kill people also.
Yeah. Drink enough of it?
Hey,
you're dead.
bees killed Macaulay Culkin in Micro, so
I guess so, yeah.
But also the Wicker Man.
he
Not
coulda
the bees.
He could have used some rain and some rain, and some rain.
The cops from Candyman could have used some raid. Spoiler
Yeah, I know.
alert.
That's what the sequel's gonna have, just
Yeah.
them like instead of guns.
I don't know, John.
Yeah,
we were already vague. Like it could have been like
Yeah.
tarantulas.
There's
and,
a lot
like,
of really big
jumping
ones here that you
spiders.
haven't gotten yet.
Big ones.
You know what's so funny?
Big
is, like,
roaches, yeah.
that's so crazy. It's like I'm trying to think of like some fucking
Pests.
yeah, like
People listening to the pod are like, they just saw some of these yesterday and they're like, oh.
I'm even trying to
their
think
house.
of like what would I see outside, but I'm like, we already said it. Flies,
Birds.
yeah.
ooh, how about gnats? It's probably a no, but
They kill gnats.
okay, cool.
So for some reason they're called non-biting gnats on here, but yeah, they kill gnats.
I didn't even know.
Wait, why won't they kill the biting gnats? I want
Yeah,
those
I
dead.
was like, what? I've never. Do gnats bite? Now I'm scared.
Do they?
yeah.
Oh
Gnats
shit!
bite.
Oh my god. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
This is like a thing of nightmares. The fact that we need to murder all these insects. Drew,
Beetles.
I'm gonna give it to you. Technically, they're Asian lady beetles. Those are the ones that you see in
said
Texas a lot. We see them at our house. I think they're cute.
But then you rate them away. This is awful. We're just like talking about like killing like insects and stuff.
They deserve it because they're inside
That's why he said pests.
pests.
What else? Fucking hell. I had it and I just lost it when Drew said his answer.
I think
'cause was like, fucking-
when this is done, which now we're gonna go to one strike. Okay, we're not gonna do this two strike shit. But
John, just get it wrong.
when I
now.
read the
Hurry
rest of them, I think you're gonna be
What
like,
if I just get it wrong now though? That's kind of
Hurry up. Get it wrong
Let's see.
then.
Hold on. What do we say? Let's see.
So let me read what you have already said. You've already said roaches, ants, silverfish. You've said mosquitoes, crickets,
Ooh, fleas.
beetles, biting gnats, and there's no fleas on their list.
Really?
Wow.
I win.
That's not true. For real?
Yeah.
Like even like they don't have like a fucking like a furniture raid or something.
Oh wait, no fleas. I found it.
Okay.
Oh shit. Sorry, everyone.
Oh,
Sorry,
Yeah,
my bad.
now-
I was
now
gonna be like,
Drew's
man,
gonna fuck
it
up.
can kill something bigger than a flea, but it can't kill a flea.
Yeah.
Wow. All right, Drew, your turn. I would say here's a clue. Y'all are in the right air. You're in the right. You're using the right raid product, I guess, is what I'll say. What does that even mean?
Oh, I just see. I just thought of another one right now.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
using the right raid product
For this one, yeah. For this.
for
Think
this,
of my
for
last
the last
answer,
couple
for-
one
I guess. And then think of something.
that goes along with
Yeah,
them.
exactly.
They hang out all the
They hang-
time.
yeah.
Ticks.
Yes, it kills ticks. Ticks. Isn't there a superhero named the Tick?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm saying, there's so many
comedic one, yeah.
a lot of birds, a lot of insects in the superhero world.
Butterfly in the sky.
Actually, yeah. I was about to go with. Well, I don't know.
God damn, John, that's not a pest. Fuck.
With butter.
No, I was
He's
gonna-
outside shooting him with a gun.
I was gonna
know,
go with
but-
moth, so we can just get that with. But like, I'm pretty sure that's a wrong one.
Damn it, he's right.
Moths are on here.
Okay, cool. Never mind.
They are a pest, and I will say they are a pest because
They
You
eat.
have them.
there's a lot of them in my house, and I started putting these like pheromone traps out. And Sophia's like, now the horny ones are gonna get in, and I think she's right because like I'm like
Banging
they're
down
not
the
going
door.
away, and they're fucking.
Yeah, there's like a lot more.
Yeah, there's a lot of them trying to come in after hours. Yeah.
June bugs.
June bugs are not on the list. John, you've won.
Nice.
Here are some of the things that you didn't get. Carpet beetles. I don't know
I
what
said
that is.
beetles.
I know. I
is that?
gave you an Asian
should've
lady
gave me all
beetles,
of
but
that.
carpet beetles are
Fucking
pretty
carp-
specific. Stink bugs, they kill.
That's
They
a
kill
June
also
bug.
kill scorpions.
Damn it, I was gonna say scorpion, but I thought it was too big.
The Texas black widow spiders, they also kill.
We said spiders.
Flies. No one said flies.
I said mosquitoes. Same thing.
No, that's not the same thing.
It is the
Flies
same
don't
thing.
fucking do the same.
Mosquitoes fly, John.
This one's scary to me. Earwigs. They kill those. That sounds insane.
I was gonna say lice.
I don't want to look that up.
No, I don't want
look
to
it
either.
up.
But it sounds like they're in your ear. Right?
I was gonna
Yeah,
say
I know.
lice.
Hornets.
They're not kill fucking
Fruit
lice.
flies.
Why would they kill lice.
So
Yellow jackets. I feel like with hornets, yellow jackets, and
Hornets,
wasps,
yeah.
they would have been all together. And those are it.
Well,
ground beetles. I don't know what that is.
lice. We
They
come
don't
from,
kill lice.
we
You,
co-
you
so-
shouldn't. You shouldn't
so,
raid your
you know,
head.
Yeah, we come from a Latino household, and my mom put raid on when one of my older sisters got lice from school.
Yeah.
she put raid in her hair and then put a plastic bag on her head.
Oh, and it worked.
And you can hear them popping like the
Yeah,
lice.
it probably worked because if it can kill like a cockroach, it's
But
gonna.
I don't recommend it. It was
Yeah.
funny because people were like, I was talking about this
I think you're just
recently.
incriminating our mom, like by like.
Well, and- no, I was
like,
talking-
for abuse.
Everything's fine now.
Well, I was talking to my sisters about
She's
it.
bald. My sister is
I was
bald.
talking to
you
my
know?
sisters about it, and my sister was like, "Yeah, I had to do it on my daughter." And then I was like, "You know, you're not supposed to, right?"
Oh, Lord.
And she was like, "Wait, that's the way mom did." I was like, "Yeah, but mom wasn't supposed to back then, so you thought it was normal."
and now the granddaughter will
it
do
was
it.
funny. Yeah, it was so
Yeah.
funny, but
But
it
here's-
worked. I mean, shit, it killed all the things.
And I bet you.
Don't do it to your hair.
I
Though.
bet you cockroaches avoid your sister now still.
Yeah, probably.
Like walk
yeah.
around and they're
There's
all like
something in
scaring
there.
away.
She's
Yeah.
got-
One time, my oldest sister thought it was hairspray, and she started spraying raid on her
She's
hair.
probably like some sort of superhero. I should probably check on that.
She probably is a superhero. I
That's
bet.
probably why she's so funny.
because the brain damage.
Congratulations, John, for naming the most pests. Let's talk about our favorite sequence in the Raid 2. Drew, I'll let you pick first. What was your favorite action sequence in this movie?
My favorite action sequence in this movie is the ending where he fights the gentleman in the tracksuit, the one with the two little crazy knives.
And you know what? That's probably the raid that this movie is named after. Like him raiding the, I guess, where are they?
Organized crime.
The organized crime
he's-
house.
He's raiding.
He is doing the
organized
raid.
crime.
That's the raid.
And so, yeah, that's my favorite because that fight sequence is crazy. And I thought it was supposed to end like 5 times, and it didn't. And
Yeah.
it kept getting better. And at some point, I was like, man,
yeah.
Rama's really outmatched. And then he takes Hammer Girl and the baseball dude like
Right after.
at the same time.
Yeah.
And I was
Oh,
like,
yeah,
holy
yeah.
shit, like Rama's like superhero.
Yeah.
And so when he meets the big bad in this one, where it's like, oh man, this is the final test, like you can tell everyone clears the room, the kitchen. And then they straight up because he gets beat by him in the first
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 fight,
time,
yeah.
and so like easily.
So they have a sport of it. Like they do a little.
And so they like square up like for sure.
That's
and,
the thing from the first raid. Remember, the main bad guy, even
the
with a
shorter-
gun, would put it down and be
And
like,
then fight, yeah.
let's fight this way.
the short one, the one that fights both of them at the same time.
Yes, yeah, at the end. Mhm.
Yeah, so good. But yeah, and so in this one, it was this guy, and it was very menacing. He's the one who killed the family best friend to kind of make it look like they're trying to frame
Yeah.
the war from happening and stuff like that. And so he's the one who kills the family best friend, and that's when you first get to see him, do his work with those knives. And so yeah, it was really, really just super satisfying action sequence where it's like, man, I know you weren't the specific bad guy. But man, did it feel satisfying when you got yours.
Kind of more satisfying than the specific bad guy at the
Yeah,
end.
the climax.
Because he couldn't really do much,
And then there's like 3 or 4 of them are dying where it's like, man, there's multiple bad guys in this one. And I don't know
Yeah.
who's I'm going to be happy about.
Good setting too in that kitchen, real bright, like very good. John, what's your favorite action sequence?
I think I like the sequence right before that. I like the Hammer Girl and the baseball fight sequence only because they seemed those people to me. I guess you can make an argument for the assassin guy. Like I think his name is just the assassin on the IMDb page or something. For him dying, like because he gets sliced like 30,000 times before actually getting sliced in the throat. I think that the deaths of the 2 very gimmicky assassins, those deaths are kind of brutal and and I think it's just like maybe it's just that one shot. I feel demented for saying this, but that one shot that's really cool is when he kills the guy with the bat because it cuts away, like the way it cuts, like either to like a wide shot to where you don't see like the
Contact?
details. Yeah, the detail of the contact. I think is really cool. So like I think that whole scene there, especially too because they're, he seems to be kind of losing for a while and he gets hit I think a lot with their own weapons, even though they're all just blunt objects, so they don't really kill him. That scene is pretty brutal, and he's taking on 2 very gimmicky, like you almost kind of didn't. when those people are introduced, you kind of like, it's like what you said earlier. You're just like, oh wow, like they have to all meet at some point, and it's just like,
Yeah.
like
they're capable.
Yeah, the gimmick that how they're fighting and stuff is just like, it's just insane.
Baseball guy killing that dude in that warehouse like early on was brutal.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, he's got great aim first. And also when he starts using balls, I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, and he's telling him to
He's
to
carrying
give him
these
back.
balls with him.
Exactly, yeah.
He's like, I don't
only
want-
one apparently. Like he's a perfect. He's only from the Sandlot, so they only have that one ball. He has to get. He has to get a second ball.
A real
Baby Ruth.
Yeah, I was gonna say a real Lance Armstrong.
Oh, the one ball.
One ball. It's funny.
My favorite sequence is the car fight. I think that is just really cool because it's limited space, and then you've got multiple elements because you've got other cars happening, you know, and it's kind of brutal, especially the way it ends. But yeah, I just thought that was really impressive. Kind of
Probably the most creatively shot sequence of the entire movie.
Yeah.
Because the behind the scenes of that is wild. Like they're really driving down an Indonesian
you
highway.
can really tell. I feel like
and they're
because
handing the camera off to people. So like
that makes sense.
Yeah, and so like they'll do it to someone, like for example, some people will be. I think there's this one scene where a guy is dressed up as the seat, like as the passenger seat.
Wow.
So like when
So you
they
don't notice.
Yeah, and so like that guy just grabs the camera whenever like they push it into the new car.
It's good. There's, I mean, even when he first gets into the warehouse for the climax, there's a long, and they're not all one takes and stuff, but there's long moments when he's fighting on top of cars, you know, breaking someone's neck, throwing them off the car, and another guy jumps on him that are like one prolonged shot. You know, it doesn't go as far as doing like a giant Kingsman type, you know, single thing, but because it's seemingly practical, but they do a lot. I think that's some sequences that we didn't talk about. Of course, like the jail fight was pretty cool. It's like kind of a battle in the mud, kind of.
Well, the first jail fight's in the restroom, and then the one in the prison yard. Yeah,
is that a riot? That's a riot.
That's what I said, the
It's straight
riot,
up riot,
yeah.
right? Like the prison riot was really good. There is another kitchen fight in this where he shoves that guy's face into the.
Yeah, it just happened right now. I was watching it. I was like, good God,
Oh
it's
man,
brutal.
his face is burning off.
It's
But
the
before
corrupt
that, he's
cops, right?
throwing shit. Yeah, before that, they're already using props.
The sadism in this is like really like amplified. 'Cause
Yeah.
I feel like in the first movie he was. I don't know. I haven't seen the first movie. I really wanted to watch it again because this movie just made me nostalgic for that first one. Because that
Yeah.
first one is just.
It's good.
That first one is like, you know, it's like watching the first, you know, Predator or something. You're just like, oh, it's not going to hit the same as the second one.
Yeah.
But that first movie, I remember Rama killing people kind of out of like self-defense mostly. This one, it seems like he's really trying to make them hurt before they die.
He learned
before
the
they
hard
die.
way.
Hey, he's undercover.
Yeah, he's got to act like them a little bit.
Yeah, there's not just a stabbing that happens though.
Yeah.
It's like a stab, like carve,
But
and
that's
like,
super raid too, because in the first one they shoot a kid like maybe 5 minutes into the movie.
I mean, yeah,
because he's a
it's just-
spotter and they don't ask questions. The cops just
Yeah.
do it. He's running away and they just shoot him in the head. And I was like, oh, damn.
Yeah, that's probably like this movie
It's
isn't
just
here
a
to
brutal
play.
world that they live
Yeah.
in. Like, holy shit.
It's a tough survival thing, and like
That's why
how
you don't want to
know-
mess
yeah.
with crime, kids.
The first one too, I think, had a little bit more of innocent bias. I mean, there's a whole storyline with the neighbors that hide him in their apartment. You know, like they had nothing to. They're like
Right,
stuck
yeah.
in the middle of it. He has a kid, and this one I feel like didn't have a lot of that. But there are more characters. I guess we see the main bad guy's wife because she won't let him see his son.
Right. Yeah.
So I mean, that's I guess potentially collateral damage in a way. He also has a cool fight scene in the club. There's a club fight in this as well, where he stabs someone
of-
with a wine bottle.
I think a lot of cool like on location stuff at this stuff. Like, you know, in
The
this
setting
movie.
is
I think
huge,
this movie
yeah.
is in Indonesia, right? From what I mean?
Indonesia, Jakarta, yeah.
Yeah. And so like a lot of that is really cool. And then I think of the BTS stuff, like they just film right out in the open. Like, you know, like
Cool.
so people who are extras are literally just
Yeah.
people who are either driving
that-
by
and-
or like
And that's
or
like
walking by.
rarer and rarer now because everything seems like a giant green screen set or just
Right,
a shut down highway in LA. I feel like, you know, we talked about Michael Bay earlier, but Ambulance looks really, and it feels good because they're shooting in a shut down COVID downtown practically, which
yeah.
isn't something they could do normally. And this movie feels like that too.
Well, it's just everything's open and no
Yeah.
one care. No, none of the like the non-film people don't care that the film is going on.
Yeah,
They're
it's
just
happening.
kind
They're
of
like,
walking by.
whatever, it's cool. But I mean, yeah, there's a lot of. I mean, I don't even think we talked about half of the action sequences, even with our favorites.
No, yeah, definitely not. I mean,
the list.
I think it's because at this point, also maybe a negative aspect of the movie. Maybe I don't know if it's a negative aspect or if it's just because at this point where in the second movie we've seen so much.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the stuff does start to get like kind of, I don't know what, tiring isn't the word, but you're just kind of like, okay, well, here we go again.
Yeah. It's
just like-
relentless.
it just keeps happening.
Even with those breaks where we talk about those kind of emotional scenes where
Yeah,
we're kind of seeing the power dynamics, even with those, it's still pretty, balls to the wall,
yeah, I mean,
insane.
yeah, I think, yeah, it's like what Drew said. It's like it's just a brutal world. I mean, you see
Yeah.
it like the brutality just keeps getting worse too as the movie goes on. I think at some points it dials it back, and I think the ending is a little bit more reserved than than maybe the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
But getting there is like a giant bloodbath and stuff, and it does just keep happening more so than I think. This is probably where I feel where it kind of overstays its welcome, unlike the first one, because the first one you said was like a really tight,
Oh, yeah.
like 95-minute movie. And this one, is nearly 3 hours. So like in trying to tell a very different story, but with the same type of
Yeah.
flair that first one did, which is all the action sequences. This one does kind of it overstays its welcome by, I want to say, like a good.
And that's like where I
40
think
minutes.
most of the creativity is in those action sequences and in the ways the characters kind of honestly fight each other.
Yeah.
Because we have, you already talked about internal affairs and stuff. We've seen the noir thing a lot.
Yeah.
Already. Not to say that it should be done again. It should, it's go back to that well, because there are a lot of great filmmakers out there. But I think the big unique part of this movie is still the thing that made The Raid 1 such like a classic. And
Right.
you talked about the behind the scenes stuff. They upgraded. I think they're using Red cameras and GoPros and stuff in this, which is nice. Not an old like Panasonic from the early 2000s. But I feel like this type of action movie would only exist. And I guess now we've seen like the big studio version of this with John Wick, but I think it only exists with digital film, and the fact that the cameras are cheaper and you can shoot as much as you want. They're so small now.
Yeah.
That you can do the stuff. The camera flips around upside down in this. I think I saw it hit the car a couple times,
Yes.
like just
Yeah,
hit it and then keep going.
Those are
and-
probably extra cameras. or
yeah,
something,
roll
yeah.
off, and that can only happen now. And yeah, they filmed with GoPro, so it makes sense. You can like break 100
one,
of them,
yeah.
and who cares? You got the shot. So I feel like that's what makes it seem like such a relevant thing. Is even on the visual aspect, it could only exist now. Now that we have all this, all the tools to do it, and it definitely feels a lot different than any other action thing, which is really great. Cool.
Yeah, I'm kind of a little sad that guy. I think he might have been burned out on because he wasn't. I think this isn't. He's made 3 martial arts action movies. I think from what
Gareth
I remember.
Evans?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
he
the
made-
first one wasn't The Raid.
Yeah,
And The Raid-
Marantau.
Yeah.
Marantau Warrior is another way it's.
Yeah, and I think that's the one right before The Raid, which was like an action. So he made 3 basically martial arts movies, and I think he said he was taking a break after this one. He doesn't want to make a third one. But yeah, and then he made Apostle, which I'm sure it's not. I think that's a horror movie. That's not a martial arts movie. But
Also on Netflix.
yeah, I kind of hope he does more action in the future. Maybe kind of change things up a bit.
No, give him Iron Fist.
He
I'm
has.
kind of
kidding.
excited.
I gotta see when this comes out. Yeah, it's not out yet. Though this
He has
is
a
gonna be,
new one coming out, right?
Yeah, it's called Havoc, starring
With
Tom
Tom
Hardy,
Hardy, yeah.
Forrest Whitaker, and Timothy Olyphant. He's got a drug deal goes awry. A detective must fight his way through a criminal underworld to rescue a politician's estranged son
Shit, this sounds like this movie.
while untangling his city's dark web of conspiracy and corruption.
Oh my god, that's
That just sounds
like,
like this
yeah.
movie.
It's like he likes very complicated crime plot.
I'm fucking
Yeah,
ready.
and and again, like the creativity that he has, and of course the level of violence plays along with this. I think that's
Yeah.
super unique to him. I
Right.
mean, we've seen it before. We see violent stuff all the time. Walk down the street.
This guy should do a Grand Theft Auto movie.
I don't think I can
Red
handle
Dead
a Grand Theft
Redemption.
Auto. But he did a segment of VHS 2,
Yeah,
which
he
is
did VHS too,
something as well, and then Gangs of London, which is a show. But yeah, an interesting filmmaker.
He should be doing more things.
Still fairly young. Kind of surprised that he's like a proper British. Grew up that way, and he's making like these hardcore gritty crime movies.
He really knows a lot about the film. I mean, watching the BTS stuff, I can't really explain how he does this, but just the way he talks and the way he sets up most of those scenes, this was a really technically, like even when we're watching it, like this is a very, very technically well-made technical movie, I guess, in this case, because you're just kind of like, most of it is, the pizzazz of it is stunts and camera work and stuff.
Ooh, what if Tom Cruise and him hook up and they do like something?
That would be like
amazing.
That'd be crazy. But like,
Yeah.
it's just, we can
Intense.
dream, I guess. Yeah. But that's like that's pretty awesome to have that, like, have that calling card already. So like he can make some good stuff, and then he talks about it like the way he really knows what he's doing, especially even when it comes down to the score and how the characters kind of like when people like talk about like just a little subtle thing like that, because that's the stuff that the general audience doesn't really notice, little motifs.
Kind of
and
take it
stuff.
for granted a little, especially in the
exactly.
Raid 1, I think, because we just saw that like it has a pretty big budget, but the sound and the music in the first Raid movie is really good,
Right, yeah.
Considering it was kind of a seat of your pants kind of just shooting movie.
And then you can do that also, like, as like we've worked on movies and stuff too. Like there can be a sense of like, oh, maybe this is less important than that. This part is less important than that. And it doesn't look like he takes that at all. Looks like he really invests in every single aspect of production.
Nice. Yeah, for sure. Well, let's go around the horn, give our final thoughts on the Raid 2. Drew, what'd you think of Raid 2?
Electric Boogaloo. Yeah, really good. I do think the first one is better, but if you like the first one, then why not give this one a chance? And it does expand on the lore, the story, and the character of Rama for sure. It's just exciting to see this metahuman, this superhuman fighting machine, kind of plow his way through these thugs, criminals. It's kind of like that's why I think I love it so much, because it's so reminiscent of those really, really good Jackie Chan movies too. Because there's no one really like those. Like, there's not really movies like this anymore.
What's the name of the fighting style that they use? It's an Indonesian fighting style that they're.
Oh, it's like I'm sure there's a bunch of fighting styles.
And I was going to talk about like there is a great documentary on Netflix about the evolution of the karate in film and stuff like that, and the origination of like where karate started, and it was like beautiful and Shaolin.
Do they do karate in this one?
Wushu. Or martial arts, I mean, like the way that it's kind of evolved, and then suddenly there was this big backlash when they started showing people getting their arms cut off, and like people didn't like that or whatever, and like the journey of it to where it is now to like this is kind of insane to me.
It's really awesome. Yeah, and I was always a fan of those movies, especially because I think my mom loves, just action movies, kung fu movies, martial arts movies, karate. It doesn't matter what it is, jujitsu. It's really, really cool, and especially if you get the people who know how to do it right, it's really amazing. So,
John, what are your final thoughts on the Raid 2?
Great spectacle. Again, if you're a fan of like of the first Raid, I think this one will scratch that itch. If you're itching if you have memorized, the way the choreography goes in that first movie, or if you're still baffled on how they shot it, this movie gets even crazier. I think the highlights were it's everything that we've said here, but like the highlights are for me still the intro fight scene and the scene in that hallway there towards the very end. Great. You watch this and really. This is one of those movies where you watch and you're kind of like, maybe I can do something like this. Like, you kind of, if you're not like a filmmaker or anything, maybe you don't have that same reaction. But like, I guess people who really like movies, you kind of want to watch. This is the type of movie that you watch, and it makes you want to watch more movies like this. And I think that the Raid and the Raid 2, to some extent, like are cool, are good experiences for that, because they make you kind of want to jump into something that you normally don't really kind of watch a whole lot, or maybe you watch like every now and then. Because I don't really watch a whole lot of martial arts movies, but every now when I think of the Raid, or when I watch this, it makes me want to watch like Police Story, or hell, even like Scott Pilgrim or something like a little bit more mainstream, because of the way it kind of pumps you up, because of the adrenaline basically of the scenes.
Well, and
so
there's a reason why this got Hollywood's attention. They were in Star Wars: The Force Awakens because of
like
the first Raid.
Because of the first Raid movie,
and so I think they're Kanja Club, right? When they they act with Harrison Ford, the Guavian, yeah, exactly. And so there's a reason why they were in that.
They're so popular. Yeah, fun time.
For sure. And I was, I think that I was just Googling this because I was like, there's no way this hasn't happened. But yeah, John Wick Chapter 3 has the Raid actors in them.
Yes. That's exciting.
Because of, and they wrote scenes for them. I remember this when they're fighting in the big mirror thing. Yaya and Ruhian and Sesep Are Rahman, who played the bad guys in the Raid, fight John Wick. And they, kind of the inspiration, seeing kind of where their art has gotten them. But yeah, The Raid 2 is fantastic. I think it touches on a lot of the themes outside of the action that the first movie touched on, albeit kind of in more so on the eyes of the criminals. The action sequences are still super inventive and creative and honestly just kind of singular on its own. And The Raid, I think, is a giant cult hit. Kind of one of those movies that are becoming rare where it's so indie because someone just decided to make a movie with whatever he had, and luckily he had some of the best martial artists around. And at the time, he's a British filmmaker, but he was living in Indonesia.
It's his wife, I think.
His wife is Indonesian as well, Indonesian Japanese, and he, I think, has moved back to the UK, but I feel like, he's still got a lot of that inspiration in him, so I can't wait to see what happens next. The Raid, watch it. It's on HBO Max until
they say
until
otherwise.
HBO Max does something, because they're doing a whole lot. Well, let's go around the horn and give our plugs. It is November. This is the
like plug horn.
No, like what was that movie that I watched? The horror one where we have to blow into a bottle.
The
Empty Man.
Is that the one that you have to go on the bridge and blow in the bottle?
Go on the bridge, blow
so
the bottle.
funny.
You're halfway there.
How do they summon the fucker if that's like such? That's
Brent saw it and
very
he really
specific
liked
way.
it, and he's like, it's not that hard to summon him, and I was like, I think it's still pretty hard. But
you really have to want to summon him.
Yeah, but when you're a kid, it's not as hard. It's like the same as Bloody Mary. When you're a kid, and you just do shit like that. You're like,
even when you do drugs, you're just like,
yeah,
like don't do this.
John, what do you have to plug?
Do this. Well, don't do drugs. No, that too.
Nancy Reagan.
Yeah. Listen to Countdown to Infinity. I think at this point in November we are gearing up for a Black Panther Wakanda Forever podcast, which is going to be pretty fun. I don't know. I think it's going to be pretty fun. The trailer looks great.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of cool Marvel stuff still up there. I think they at the time of recording, I guess we're still watching She-Hulk, but the She-Hulk episode should be up, I guess, at this point. And yeah, go look out for, I'm going to plug Brent and Adam's podcast, Director Showdown. I think they're on hiatus at the moment, but they have they have a back catalog of some really good episodes and good directors. So check them out.
Drew, what do you have to plug?
I would say the Countdown Strikes Back, because we probably have finished Andor.
We'll be striking back.
Hopefully we'll be on Tales of the Jedi, or maybe a Bad Batch season 2.
We still have 3 years to fill before a movie comes out.
We'll be doing some non-movie stuff.
Probably some Babu's Book Club. We're gearing up. We're 2 months away from Mandalorian, probably, because it's in January, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Mandalorian, like comma.
And
is
check
Ahsoka
out
before Mandalorian?
No,
it's after.
Yes. So, and then also check out the Dirt Sheet Radio if you're into the professional wrestling world. Lots of spicy new content there if you're into that ish, with my boy Juicy J. And yeah.
I just saw a goof on this movie. We're still watching The Raid 2, but like
it's a long movie.
There's a car chase scene that's happening right now, the car chase, and then one of the cars in the background, their hood just went up, but it wasn't in the shot, and nothing is.
Jan, was from one of the bullets.
No, it's probably just from probably a car that was just. Anyway, I'll show
maybe
you.
Maybe it's like a. Oh, Ghetto. I don't want to besmirch any car brands, but some car brands will probably just do it on its own. Yeah, go to patreon.com. Listen, there's a whole bunch of stuff there. You're listening to this early if you're on Patreon right now. Thanks so much for listening. We'll see you later.
You won't see us.